Ladies and gentlemen, there is a tendency among people to look outward, to identify the faults in the world, in their communities, in their relationships, and to conclude that the reason their lives are not as they should be is because of something external. It is far easier to point a finger at the failures of society, the mistakes of others, or the unfair nature of life itself than it is to turn that accusing gaze inward. But the truth is, before anything else, before blaming the system, before criticizing the world, before attempting to change someone else, the first task is to fix yourself. That is where everything begins. The individual is the fundamental unit of society. You are responsible for yourself in ways that no one else can be. There is no one coming to save you, no external force that will arrange the world so that your problems disappear, and no amount of outrage or indignation will change that fact. If your life is not what it should be, the only real solution is to start by setting yourself in order. This is not a task that can be outsourced, nor can it be avoided indefinitely without consequences. The longer it is ignored, the worse things will become. It starts with something small, something that seems almost trivial. Clean your room, wake up on time, stop avoiding that difficult conversation. Begin to track what you do with your time. There is something deeply unsettling about looking at yourself honestly, about acknowledging that your failures are not just the result of bad luck or injustice, but also the consequence of your own choices. But in that realization, there is also power. Because if your decisions have played a role in your current state, then it means your decisions also have the power to change it. Many people attempt to change the world while neglecting themselves. They demand fairness in a world that is inherently imperfect. They focus on grand political or social movements, but they do so while their personal lives are in shambles. They want to make everything right, but have yet to make themselves right. This is the height of arrogance because it assumes that you, in your current state, have the wisdom to correct something as vast and complex as society when you have not yet even managed to order your own life. Start by identifying what is broken in your own life. If you are constantly tired, figure out why. If you have relationships that are in turmoil, take responsibility for your role in that turmoil. If you are financially struggling, face the reality of your spending habits, your work ethic, and your discipline. If your health is deteriorating, confront the truth about your diet, your exercise, and your habits. These things are not easy to look at. They expose weakness, and weakness is uncomfortable to acknowledge, but until you face it, you remain its prisoner. You do not need to be perfect, nor do you need to fix everything at once. That is impossible. But you can take a small step today that will make you slightly stronger tomorrow. The process is gradual, but the direction matters. The trajectory of your life is determined by the small choices you make daily. If those choices are aimed at self-destruction, at avoidance, at distraction, then the outcome is clear. If those choices are aimed at order, responsibility, and growth, then so is that outcome. There is no shortage of distractions in the modern world. Endless entertainment, constant stimulation, and an infinite stream of information designed to keep you occupied without ever forcing you to confront yourself. Many people fill their time with noise, with superficial engagement, precisely because they are terrified of being alone with their own thoughts. But ignoring yourself does not make your problems disappear. It only ensures that they will grow in the dark, unchallenged and unchecked, until they consume you. The hardest part of fixing yourself is taking the first step. It is admitting that things are not as they should be, and that you are not where you could be. That realization can be painful, but it is also liberating. Because once you acknowledge that you are responsible for your own condition, you can finally do something about it. That is where strength is found, not in blaming, not in resentment, but in taking control of what is yours to control. Do not compare yourself to others. That is a distraction and a trap. You are not them, and they are not you. You do not have their circumstances, their history, or their set of challenges. The only person you should compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. Are you stronger today than you were then? Have you moved even slightly in the right direction? That is the only metric that matters. People search for meaning in all the wrong places. They believe that if they just had more money, more status, more admiration, then things would be better. But none of those things will bring lasting fulfillment if you have not built yourself into someone capable of handling them. A weak person with wealth is still weak. A lost person with status is still lost. Strength of character does not come from external success. External success comes as a byproduct of strength of character. There will always be challenges. Life is suffering, and suffering is unavoidable. But suffering that is endured with purpose, with a sense of direction, is entirely different from suffering that comes from chaos, from purposelessness. You cannot eliminate pain, but you can decide whether it will shape you or destroy you. Fixing yourself does not mean making life easy. It means making yourself strong enough to handle whatever life throws at you. There are habits you must break, and there are habits you must build. The things that weaken you, that make you ashamed, that fill you with regret, those are the things you must let go of. The things that make you disciplined, proud, and stable, those are the things you must cultivate. No one can do this for you. It is not a process that can be forced from the outside. It is an internal decision, one that you must make and remake every single day. It does not matter where you start. You could be in the worst possible situation at the lowest point in your life. It does not matter. What matters is the next step. What matters is that you refuse to stay where you are. Progress is not linear, and it is never perfect. But the difference between those who fail and those who succeed is simple. Those who succeed do not stop. They do not quit when it gets hard. They do not surrender when they fall. They get up, they realign themselves, and they keep going. If you want your life to improve, improve yourself. If you want your relationships to be better, be someone worthy of great relationships. If you want respect, become someone respectable. If you want to achieve something, become the person capable of achieving it. Everything starts with you. Everything is within your control. The world is chaotic, and much of it is outside your influence, but the one thing that will always be yours to govern is yourself. Do not waste time wishing things were different. Do not indulge in self-pity or resentment. Those are distractions, and they lead nowhere. Instead, focus on what can be done now, today, in this moment to move forward. Small improvements, daily victories, slow but steady progress, that is the path to real change. And as you build yourself up, as you strengthen yourself, you will find that you are not only improving your own life, but also the lives of those around you. Because a strong individual contributes more, leads more, and inspires more than a weak one ever could. The world does not need more people who complain about what is wrong. It needs more people who take responsibility for what they can fix, starting with themselves. And when you fix yourself, when you become the best version of yourself, everything else begins to fall into place.